Hi everyone. So today I'll be taking a webinar on how to use HeadSpin APIs to manage applications. We'll be more or less focusing on mobile devices first, but in the meantime, I'll be telling you a bit on how an application works. It's a high-level webinar. So if you have any questions, please ask in the Q&A section in Zoom, and let's get started. So the agenda for before I start. So my name is Christy, and I'm a part of the Headspin sales engineering team. I work with any clients that has trouble accessing the platform, or if they want to integrate their frameworks to our platform. And I'll give you a quick agenda on what we're doing in the webinar. So I'll be introducing HeadSpin. I'll be talking a bit of what an application is and what are the different types of applications that we work with. iOS provisioning, using HeadSpin APIs to upload, install, and even uninstall applications on the platform, and using HeadSpin's apping capabilities to do the same. Now, a quick introduction on what HeadSpin does. So we are a digital experience AI platform. We deal with real devices and we have cloud devices all across the world. So these are the four major pillars of HeadSpin. One is global device infrastructure, wherein we have remote devices all across the world, be it India, Indonesia, Malaysia, South Korea, you name it. We have our presence in around 100 plus locations worldwide. And the second pillar is test automation and APIs. We have a dedicated network of hosts in which you can run any of your automation scripts, be it Appium based or even say low code solutions like Tosca, LeapWorks, or an XLQ on the remote devices that we have. You can even use your CI/CD pipelines to run the uh, automation scripts. The third pillar would be performance, quality of experience, and machine learning. So once you run your scripts on the devices that we have, we give you session reports from those particular scripts. So if it's an Appium script that you're running, you can get device level details or network API calls captured and plotted as a report, which has the video of the recording itself and some device level information like the net CPU, memory used, or even the battery drain. And even the fourth pillar would be insights to those actions. Now, once you record those sessions, we can give you insights into the recorded session reports. So for example, if there's loading animations on, say, the test case that you run, so you can highlight those particular regions where there are loading animations, then zoom into those locations and see what could have caused it. So is it because the memory usage was a bit too high? Was there a lot of open TCP connections at that time? So we give you those insights as a form of issue cards. Next, this is the physical hardware which lets us connect the remote devices to our platform. What you see on the left-hand side is called as the H1P box or a proxy box. This has multiple hosts in it. It can be a combination of Linux and Mac minis together, which connects Android or iOS devices. And what you see underneath it is an AV box setup. So in cases where you'd want to plug in, say, an OTT device like a Fire Stick, an Android TV, or even an Apple TV, you can use that to get that on the Headspin UI. And what you see on the right-hand side is the actual UI wherein you can interact with the device. So here you can see the device the device that you can interact with. Now on the right-hand side, you can see some options that you can use. Now, we'll talk about what an application is and why you need it in your daily life. So here, the definition of an application is a software or a piece of code that does a certain function. Nowadays, it can pretty much do most functions. So everyone must be using a laptop or say an Android or an iOS device, right? And in those devices, when you want to say perform a certain task, like if you want to watch a video, you'd be more or less using the YouTube application. And if it's a web-based application, you'd just go to youtube.com and then stream the application that you want. Now, there are different platforms in which an application can be used in. Say, for mobile devices, you can use an iOS or an Android device. There are additional mobile devices as well, but for now, at least we'll be talking about the iOS and Android. You can use web browsers. So say you'd want to view an application, but you can't really install it on any of your devices. You can directly have the web view of the same application. I think more or less most of the application has its web view counterpart as well. And even some applications like a good example is Swiggy Instamart. You can have it opened in your browser as well. And I think there's actually a web-based version for Android devices called as Instamart Lite. So that's another example. Now, desktop computers also have applications in them. It can be a Mac OS using a DMG file, or maybe a Windows machine that uses a .exe file to install the application. Now, installing the application, majorly there's two methods. One is side loading it. So you can either get the file for that particular platform and get it installed directly on the device by uploading it to the storage of the device and then installing it, or you can download it directly from a reputed source. For Android, it could be the Android Play Store, and for iOS, it could be the App Store. Now, there are different types of files depending on the platform that you're using. So the major ones that we are going to talk about is Android and iOS. Android uses the standard file type is APK, and for iOS, it's IPA files. Now, Android devices can download APK files directly from the Play Store, like I said previously, or sideload it either by installing it by getting the APK file downloaded from any websites. There's a lot of websites that you can download from, and if you're a developer, you must have even heard about App Center in which you can get the builds of your application downloaded. For iOS, it's IPA files. You must, unless you're a developer, mustn't have even heard about IPA files because it's very hard. It's a bit complex to install an IPA file directly, unlike Android, which you can use open source third-party tools to get it installed. Now, talking about variations of the APK file itself. Now, for Android, there are different file types that you can install. One is the standard one, that's APK. Next one is XAPK files. If you've ever downloaded a game, or if you ever sideloaded a game that you download from a third-party uh, site website, you must have seen there are two files that gets downloaded. One is APK file itself, and another one is called a .oob file. An OOB file or OBB file, sorry. An OBB file would contain a lot of the extra details of of the application. An example, if you're downloading, say, a large game like COD mobile or say PUBG, it would have all of its background data or I mean, if it's animations or soundtracks in the OBB file and the basic data as the APK file. Now, the XAPK file combines both of them into just one file. It will be a very large file which you can install on the device. And you can even have APKs files. It's not APKs, it's APKs, which is basically split APK files. So APKs files are basically files that you get when you, say, build your application using Android Studio and you convert the developer file, that is the AAB file, into an APK file. It gives you a split APK file so that you can install it on various types of devices. Now, talking about that, that's AAB files are basically segue to our next topic, that's developer file types. AAB files are app bundles that are created when you start building your application using Android Studio for Android. And APP files are the counterparts to iOS when you try to, say, build an application using Xcode. So if you want to install an AAB file or use, say, Android Studio to develop your application, you would get the AAB file as the output, and APP would be the same for iOS devices. Now, again, I've talked about how it's a bit more complex to install or sideload an IPA file, right? So why that is because Apple has another, you'd have to what we call provision your IP file to get it installed on one of your iPhones. That's where iOS provisioning comes in. Now, the purpose of provisioning or why it's a bit more complex is because it's a lot more secure. So when you have a debug build or say a QA build has that must only be installed on, say, certain devices, then you would want to use provisioning. That is, provisioning means you'd have to install a certificate a provisioning certificate on the device that you want to test out. And then you'd have to add the UDID or the device ID of the device that you want to install the file on in your developer account. So whenever you build an application or an IPF or an iOS application, you would have to have an Apple developer account first. Then you would have to add the UDID of the device that you want to install on in that developer account and then build your application. Once you have that, you can install the IP file on the on any of the devices which you've already added and get the app running. Now, the importance is basically so that the app itself is installed only on the intended device. Okay, I'll answer the questions at the very end. But if you do have any questions while I'm giving the webinar, please, you can ask away in the Q&A section. Now, let's get to the API parts. Using HeadSpin APIs to upload, install, or even uninstall applications. These are the basic APIs, but we do have a lot more APIs as well. Now, this is the HeadSpin UI. You can actually open up any device, like say, I'll just test the installation of the application using by going on the S22 Galaxy S22 device that's in Bangalore. You get a lot of details of the device, like the device ID, the host name. You can even have a physical SIM card attached to it. Now, this particular device is connected to Wi-Fi and it's running on Android version 12. You can boot up the device just by clicking the start button over here. And once the device boots up, it's just like any normal Android device. You can swipes and clicks, navigate to the UI, and you can even open up the Play Store to install the application directly over here. But we'll be talking about installing the application using an API. Now, before I start, you can see these are the default applications on the device. And if I'd want to upload, say, a speedtest application, I have already downloaded the file in my local directory. I'll just go to the documentation section over here. This is the app management section. So this has all of the APIs that you'd want to use to upload, install, uninstall, or even manage the upload applications. The first step to install an application on this particular device is to upload it to our host. Now, when I click on General and go to Upload an App, a link over here, you can see we have the Upload API. This has the authorization token, and you can also see the application that I'm trying to upload to the host. So what I have to do is copy this example. And either you can use Postman, if you're comfortable with Postman. All you have to do is just click on import, add the API over here, go to authorization, select bearer token, and at the body, you can just click on the file that you want. In this case, it's speedtest.apk file, and I'll just click on send. So once it's uploaded, you will get an app ID as a response. It's an alphanumerical key that you can use another API to install it. It takes around a minute. So here, this is the app ID. So I'll just copy this, just paste it here. Now, to install, say, the uploaded application on any one of the devices, in this case, that's 22, you can go to Manage Apps by App ID. You can see we have installed an app on a device by the App ID method. You can also use metadata as well. Metadata is just additional information that you can give the uploaded application. So say you have different builds of your application, and you'd want to separate the devices based on its the build number. So what you can do is you can just go to upload an app, and the next one, and set the metadata this part. You can see you can give the minus a parameter and have metadata equal to a key value, wherein the key can be build number, region, depending on what your use case is, and give the value over here. You can use that to install the application. Now, in our case, we'll be using the app ID. Now, here you can see you can install the application using this API, which is the install API. So I can either copy this, paste it into the Postman. If you're using macOS or Linux, you can directly run it from a terminal as well. So I've copied the app ID. So here you can see this in the curly brackets, this app ID setup. And paste this here. Second, get the app ID from here. And then at the very end, you can see there's another alphanumeric key, which is the device address or the device ID. So I can remove the one that's set up over here. And then I can pick the one on this device. We can see the serial over here. For easier access, you can just go to devices and just select the device ID from here as well. So once I have that, all I have to do is just paste it here, click enter, and again in a few seconds, you will see that the APK file would be installed on the device at the very end. It doesn't take that long. And if you want to do the same thing using Postman, it's the same method. You just copy the same API from here, go import, paste it, organization, select bearer token over here, and then you change the values from here. Copy the app ID from here, paste it, and then go to the device over here. It's already installed. Copy the serial and change the app path right over here. So this is already installed, and you can see the response over here. So performing stream installed and the value success. So you can see the APK was installed. I can open it up and I can start using it. Pretty straightforward. Now to uninstall it, again, it's the easiest way is to just use the uninstall application uninstall part over here. You just have to change install to uninstall. That's it. So I already have install set up, right? What I can do is just change it by adding a UN just before this. Click on install. And if I go to the device right here, you can see the app is uninstalled. Very straightforward. Now we have a repository as well. So whenever an application is uploaded to our host, you get app IDs as responsive. So what you can do is you can list out all of those applications by going to the very top, and you can see list uploaded APK apps and their metadata. If you run this command in Postman, for example, it'll give you the list of application. I just import it. And you can even set a limit as well. Otherwise, you might see a lot of applications. I'll just limit it to 3 for now. And click on submit. This gives you a lot of information of the uploaded app, like the identifier, the application name, the file type, the minimum OS that it wants, and some other additional details. So this is on how you can use applications or upload applications. Next, just like using an API, you can even use HeadSpin's apping capabilities as well. So that's where you can use, say, Appium to, again, install the applications on the devices. And you can even re-sign the application if you want on, say, an iOS device. To do that, once you have the app ID, what you can do is you can go to apping capability section over here. Yeah, by just type in app.id, you can see HeadSpin app ID as a capability. Now, what you can do is you can copy this into any of your Appium-based scripts and give the app ID as a key value pair, and then run that Appium script on any one of the devices that we have, and it will install the application. That's it. It's that easy. So you can have one script written, and you can basically run it on any one of the devices that we have, get the app installed, and that's it. You're good to go. You can even uninstall any applications as well by using another capability, which is called HeadSpin remove app packages. So say you're trying to run your automation script. You must have, if the whole user flow is just to say, use cold start or do a cold launch of the application, instead of having to use any other driver that basically needs you to start the actual test itself, what you can do is you can add remove app packages over here. So even before the driver is being initiated, it removes the app packages. You can even set a list of packages over here to get it uninstalled. And yeah, you can even install multiple applications at the same time by using the other other apps dot IDs as well. That's another method that you can use. So there must be another, there should be a question regarding could we use, say, the HeadSpin's default method, that's HeadSpin app. Uh, for HeadSpin, you have to always use app ID just because we have a dedicated host and we upload those files to the host, and then you use the app IDs itself is like a path to the file, and that's how you install it. But normally the app function doesn't work. That's why we have app.id. So yeah, it was a very short webinar. Any doubts, questions, or if you want to see more APIs regarding the app management, I can show you that as well. Yeah, I can see there's three questions already set up. Is it possible to convert a .aab file to a .apk file? So yes, you can. How so you have a tool called as bundle tools that you can use if you have an AAB file with you and you don't have the actual Android Studio with you to convert it. But the easiest way is to just build your application from the Android Studio itself and get it as an APK file. Next is how to execute ADB shell commands on any of the HeadSpin config devices using Python app script. Good question. So we actually have a device API over here. So here in Android device API, see we can send ADB commands from here. So you can use this. So you can write a function like a Python function over here and get this executed. Wherein, say, this is an example. So this is a curl command to list the packages of the installed device. If I just run it right now, it'll give you the list of packages of the device R5CR. I think this is the same one. Yeah, it's a different device, but yeah, this is the list of packages installed on that device. Next is, can files be installed directly through ADB? Oh yeah, you can do that. So uh, this command is majorly to send shell commands. If you directly want to run ADB commands, what you can do is you can use HeadSpin's CLI tool. It's a command line interface tool. So here, if you go to tool section in the UI, you can see we have something called a remote debug. Just by copying this command, and I'll just get this out, pasting it, say, in my terminal, I can get the remote device access locally as well. So I have this in a few seconds, you can see that the device is you can see the device is connected. If I run ADB devices, for example, you can see the device listed. Another thing that I can do is I can just go to see it as over here. If I want to install the file, I can just type in ADB install speed app, and I can do the same installation through ADB as well. Yeah, you can see it says success. And if I go back to the device, the app is back. Are third-party app stores usable with your platform? Oh, yes, yes, they are. So if there is an app store that you'd want to download, you can either download it from the Play Store over here. Sorry, not the Play Store. You can just search for the app store from, say, the browser. So if I just go to google.com and search for app stores. So maybe APK Peer if you'd want to install that. You can get that. You can get this place to this app store, download and install on the device, and then direct start using that. If you want to use App Center, you can do that as well. Any other questions? Can you run app under debug mode? Yes, you can. So that's where the CLI tool again comes in. So you can have it run in debug mode and then connect it to Android Studio, for instance, to actually see the changes. Um, so this, let me see if I can run the Flutter application. So so an example would be if you're, say, testing out a Flutter app. So you can have the CLI connected directly, get the app installed on the device using Flutter Run, and then any changes that you make, you can just hit refresh and it will show up on the connected device. You can do that. Yes, iOS is supported. So any iOS-based devices, say, for example, I have an iPhone XR over here. If I'd want to upload the IP file over here, all I have to do is just go to apps, click on browse, and select the IP file of my choice, and get it uploaded and installed. The provisioning is taken care of by our API as well. So just like how I explained why you needed an iOS provisioning done on an IP file, you can basically get that done through us as well. So we have an API that provisions the IP file and gets it installed on the device. That it can only be done as long as you have the IP file as a separate file. HP UFT one can you can integrate UFT tools. It's similar to how you that I've connected the CLI to. So UFT requires you to have a physical connection to your laptop. So in a similar manner, you can get that connection through the CLI tool. So once you have the CLI enabled and connected to your laptop, you can get the device over there. I think we have documentation on that as well. Anything else? Any questions are okay with me? Okay, I'll just wait for a couple more seconds and we can see if there's any more questions. And in the meantime, I can actually show you a bit more app management APIs over here. So here you can actually select an application based on metadata as well. So like how you can install or upload an app using metadata, you can use certain selectors over here. So say if you want to pick some API or IP files based on its app type, the app name, or the app identifier itself, you can add that to the search list as keys. So this gives you the keys that you can use to actually search for a type of application. So you have, say, build commit. So this is the uh, commit hash code that you can use, the timestamp, build type, file size. So if you say uploaded 10 different kinds of applications, you just want to get a file type of an application or search for a file type, search for an application based on its file size, you can do that as well. You can even use OS minimum. So say you're testing out the build of an application and you have an Android 9 or 10 device. So you've uploaded previous builds, but you'd want to find that build based on its OS type, like the minimum OS version. You can do that using OS minimum. So these are some of the additional tools that you can use. So you can even combine multiple keys as well to find the exact application that you'd want to say. Say it should be iOS application and it should work on say devices that's lower than iOS 11. You can combine the two with using plus. Okay, question. Can you show how HeadSpin can be accessed to start from login to access the device or manual access? Okay, to actually get to use HeadSpin, you would first have to sign up to our platform. I think there is a help section on our page over here, wherein you can just contact support, give your email address, and then we can have like uh, we can give you access to say some devices for you to use. But majorly, you would have to sign up to the platform to access it. Once you sign up, you can see the device list in the device section, and if you want to say see the devices based on its location, you can just click on post over here, and that's how you can select any device. But want to select a device in London, I just click London over here and you can see the devices listed. Yeah. Any more questions? Yes, the recordings would be available. Yes. No problem at all. Okay, then, if there aren't any more questions, we can end this early. It was a short, high-level webinar on how we can use HeadSpin to overcome any app management issues that you might have. So being a cloud platform, you can pretty much manage and even run test cases on a platform easily. So these are some of the APIs that you can use. So thank you all for joining. Hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.